Atkinson Hall, and welcome to another episode of our featured artist series. Today, I have the honor of introducing you to Mrs. Millie Nash. Millie came to our art center by way of starting with the workshops that we would have on Tuesday mornings, the first and third of each month, which for right now are on hiatus, but will return in a future date. Millie is a proud Cornhusker, a graduate of the University of Nebraska, a fellow teacher, and a lover of art. So without further wait, Mrs. Millie Nash. Millie, thank you so much for agreeing to be our featured artist this week.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm sure I've not done this before, so it's an experience for me.
Oh, well, hopefully it'll be a pleasant one. I know everyone's looking forward to hearing about you. So I thought you could share more about Millie.
All right. I grew up out in Nebraska in the time of the Great Depression and also the drought. So we didn't have a lot of cultural activities there. I went to a one-room school for my first 3 years. My teacher was somebody just out of high school, and she had all 8 grades. So there was not a lot of individual instruction there, but I enjoyed it. I loved going to school. I had 6 sisters. I was not the youngest. I was next to the youngest. And so I learned a lot of things from my sisters when we spent time playing school in the summertime and playing games and things of that sort. So I enjoyed school. And then we moved, and so I went to a school in the little town of Ong, Nebraska. That's spelled O-N-G, Nebraska. And that's where I graduated from high school. And during my high school years were the war years, the Second World War. And we had difficulty finding lots of teachers. So there again, we did not have a lot of extracurricular activities. Then I went to the University of Nebraska for 2 years, and I studied to be an elementary school teacher. So I did have a class in teaching art in the elementary school. We did not do a lot. We did not do painting. We did a lot of craft things. We did some drawing, but it was not a real intensive class. After I had taught for 2 years, I went back and finished my college, and then I went to Colorado Springs, and I taught school there. Fortunately, they had art teachers, so we were not required to teach art to our elementary children. And I found that gave me time to do some other things, planning and so forth. So after teaching over a number of years, I met my husband, and eventually we got married. And then we moved to Honolulu for our first assignment after he was stationed in Colorado Springs. And we stayed there for 3 years. And I had 2 daughters born over there. Wow. And we came back to this area, and eventually there were 3 more children, and those 3 were boys. So as you probably can figure out, I was a little busy with raising those 5 children. They were all close together in age. And eventually we went to Germany and spent some time there. I still tell the story about how we went by Florence, Italy, traveling, and the children said, "We're not stopping to see another art museum."
Oh.
And so we went to the beach instead. But eventually I got to Florence, and I got to see the art museums there, which I enjoyed. And all during my years, I enjoyed going to art museums, and I appreciated art and so on. So after we came back from Germany, we settled in this area again. And eventually I retired. I had taught school at different times. I had worked in other areas sometimes. And after I retired, I thought, what am I going to do with all my time? So I became a docent at a museum in Alexandria, Gadsby's Tavern Museum, and spent time there. Finally, I along with my children deciding it was time that I should move to Vincent Hall, I moved here about 2.5 years ago.
Oh.
At Christmas time of that first year, there were little open houses at the different facilities, and I went to the one in the art room. And I thought, this is a nice place. Maybe I'll do something in this after the new year starts. So one day I found a flyer in my bin box about a project that would be taking place on the next Tuesday. It was called a workshop, and it was for beginning painters. And so I attended that. I enjoyed that one very much. And so I went back a number of times after that and enjoyed it all. Then eventually, as we all know, the coronavirus set again, and we had to curtail our activities. But once we got started having those again, I found that there was a beginning painting class at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and I would go to that. So I have enjoyed that very much. It's been a real good part of my life, and it's something that I had not done before. So I feel like it's been a great addition.
Oh, well, we think you're a great addition to that class. We really enjoy having you there too. So, when you were, if I want to go back a little bit, when you were teaching elementary school and doing the art, was it hard to find supplies for the kids back then?
Well, at one point I remember doing, and of course today you wouldn't do this, you carved figures out of ivory soap.
Oh, oh.
I said, "Can you bring a knife?"
Yeah.
So, and I had to have the children bring their own soap with them. We usually had construction paper. We usually had drawing paper, but we did not have a lot of books that would help us guide us in teaching of art, which I don't know whether they do today or not, but that would have been very helpful then. But a part of the time I did not teach my own art, and a lot of the time it was projects with paper where we were cutting and pasting and putting together different things. And then I remember at Christmas time, we did what we called spatter painting, and we made something and we had a screen above it, and we had a toothbrush with paint, and we spattered that paint, and so it came out looking sort of like festive holiday events there. So that was one thing that we did, and we also did some finger painting.
Oh.
And of course, the kids loved that because you could be really messy with that. I'm not sure there were any bright, famous pictures that came out of it, but they all had fun doing it, and that was part of their introduction to art.
Oh, I think if they had fun, that's probably what could have kept them going, because otherwise they wouldn't like it.
I
So,
say, "Oh, art again today."
oh, I hope nobody ever says that. I feel
I don't think they did either. I think they enjoyed going to art, and they felt that it was something that they were using their hands and their physical ability to do.
oh, sure. So it sounds like once you had 5 children, you were busy raising those 5 kids. Did you help them with art projects or do any fun things?
Well, I mentioned this to my daughter the other day, and she said, "Mom, I still remember you drawing a dog for me on there, and I also remember you drawing a house and trying to show me that you just didn't have just a plain rectangle. You had to make it look like there was another side to it." So
Oh,
there were a few things, and we did, of course, they did quite a bit of coloring and coloring books, and we did learn to stay inside the lines. And they enjoyed doing some artwork and making posters and things of that nature, and they did that from home.
hmm,
But I don't know that any of them have become real artists, but maybe in time they will enjoy it too.
that's
I had several sisters that did some very nice artwork. At least that I saw. So there was some creative talent in the family. I just didn't feel like I had it. But I've enjoyed doing art now so much.
Oh, that's the important thing. But I beg to differ. I think you do have talent, as we'll see from your artwork that you agreed to share with us. Okay, so here's one of our first pieces. I thought you could share something about this cardinal.
The cardinal was always one of my favorite birds. I think it was that bright red that made me like that so much. My grandson was over Monday and he was looking at it and he said, Grammy, he says, that's my favorite picture. And I
Oh,
said, oh, is it? And he said, well, I'm a Cardinals fan for the baseball team.
okay. Good. Oh, well, I'm glad that he liked it. I like the attitude your bird has. He's looking that way, seeing what's going on.
Mhm.
Oh, and then we have this one.
Okay, that was not one of my favorite ones because to me, it didn't quite look like the hydrangeas that I had seen. But anyway, it was fun to paint it.
Well, this was one where we used a bunch of Q-tips in the workshop and then stamped them in. So I remember that.
Yeah, all right.
I like it. I think it's very impressionistic. Degas would like it. So I'll go with that. And
if, if he could check these.
yes, exactly. We have this.
And that one is my favorite one. And that was in the workshop. And I've always liked it because I like the sky and the difference in the depth that it has to it.
Oh, absolutely. The foreground and then going backwards in here.
Mhm.
Yes, that's really pretty. Then we have, I'll edit this because I'm trying to remember where we went next. Was it the turkey? I think the turkey.
I think the turkey probably was next.
Oh,
Now, my son that lives in California, when he saw that one, he said, "I like that one," and it's kind of an interesting one because you're not sure what that turkey is thinking.
not at all. But your use of color and the bright yellow and the blue there, it's so vibrant. It has a this one almost looks like German expressionism. I feel like you've got another whole look on this. I love this. And his eye is great.
I guess his eye brings my eye to the picture.
Oh, absolutely. Then we have this one.
Okay, that's somebody said, I think that must be Mexico. And
Hmm.
somebody else told me, I think that looks like Italy.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not, I'm not sure which, but I like the flowers there. Not sure I like the door.
Okay. Aw. I like the yellow in the pots too. I like how that just captures your eye with the outline and then just that bold hint of yellow. Then we have this one.
Okay, those are those mountains there. Um, that's more stylized than what you see on most pictures of mountains. But uh, I have seen mountains that are almost all the same height and are very peaked, like
Hmm.
the Grand Tetons. But and I have I'm not sure what plants these are in at the foreground.
Oh, okay. I'm not good with plants, so I would not be the one to ask, but you can tell. I like the little white flowers on a few of them too. Then speaking of flowers, we have flowers.
Those are the tulips. And now probably should be some more dark tulips in there to make it stand out in the middle part.
Oh, I
But,
see. I like
maybe the dark ones didn't grow that time.
that's right. There we go with that. That's true. All righty. Then we have this one.
That's our reflections. And now when I look at it here, I really like it better than when I first finished it.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Or I
Mhm.
like it. I love the low sunset. I feel like it's almost dusk. Just
Mhm, and then the reflection of that is just that light color there,
mhm,
light
down
pink.
here. Oh,
Mhm,
beautiful. I love the pink showing through the blue, the way you streaked that.
and that was my last one, and that grandson that talked about the cardinal, he looked at this one and he said, "Grammy, you made it look like that one boat is far away, one's closer, and one's even closer." So
There
I
you
said, "Okay, I got something right then."
go. Perspective, definitely. And then the reflection in the sand here too of wet sand.
Yes, and now I like this picture. I
Oh,
think someday I'll have to have it framed.
I think so. And I guess I got out of order a bit, but then we have this last one that you shared with us.
That's the aspen trees in Colorado with that bright blue sky. Mhm, and I
Saw this a lot.
I like that one too. Mhm. In fact, I like it more when I see it now than right when I finished it, but I think we get some appreciation after looking at several of them too. Mhm.
That makes sense. I like the low angle, like you're looking up at the trees. You can tell from the way the trunks are angled. That's a difficult thing to pull off, and yet you have done that beautifully here.
Yeah, thank you.
And the texture on the leaves. Love that. Millie, thanks so much for sharing all of those paintings. And I know you're working on a new one as we speak.
That's right, and I will enjoy getting back to class next Wednesday and doing whatever I can to make a new one come through and come to life.
Oh, well, I know you will. Is there anything else you'd like to share with everyone?
I enjoy the art program and I enjoy the other people that are there. Everybody is so friendly, and it's nice to see the work that they are doing and how they have changed in their pictures that they have made since we've been doing it together.
Oh, yes. We
And I enjoy having somebody being very supportive of our work as our teacher.
oh,
Yeah,
I so enjoy the class. It's a great group of folks too.
it is. I just enjoy being there with everybody as well as painting.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. I think that group has developed a nice camaraderie in a short amount of time.
It has. Uh-huh. Now, several of them I had never met before we were in the class, and there were a couple of them I had. Mhm.
Oh, thank you so much for being our featured artist. And I know it's always a challenge to do this, but thank you.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Millie, for sharing those stories about your life growing up, working as a teacher, being a mom of 5 kids, and your continued love and interest in the visual arts. I also want to say belated happy birthday to Millie, who shared after we were off the recording part of our interview that she turned 93 this past week. So happy birthday. And she said it was okay to share her age. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. But if you see Millie, wish her a happy belated birthday. She also has a sister celebrating a milestone birthday in the state of Washington later this month, I believe she had said. I'm sure you'll enjoy seeing Millie's work again in the slideshow that follows. And if you want to see Millie in person, she's in the Wednesday morning painting group, which meets each Wednesday at 10 a.m. So feel free to stop by and say hello to Millie and the rest of us that are down in the Art Center every Tuesday and Wednesday. In the meantime, until next week's featured artist, stay safe and be well, Vincent Hall, and we'll see you soon.